I want to ask black people, how would you feel if white people held an event every year on the coast, the South Coast, Gulf Coast, and we called it White Beach Weekend? And black people weren't allowed to attend this.
Ma'am, respectfully, on behalf of about 99.9% of people who look like me, in the words of Stephen A., we don't care. We don't care. I'm sick of seeing people pose these ignorant questions and make everything about color. If this was asked about Asians or Hispanics, whether they had a day and they want to include black people, it would be the same thing. If somebody don't want me somewhere, I'm good on not going. Trust me. If someone who looked like me threw a party and said they didn't want me there, I'm okay with that. I don't care. I never understand the logic behind these stupid questions. And for some strange reason, this creator's page is non-existent. I can't imagine why. There are new babies being born every day who know nothing about this. Nothing. It's being taught. So if there's no end to all this black-white stuff, it's going to keep going. It's going to be an ugly, vicious cycle, is all I'm saying. Respectfully, of course.
Hi family, welcome back to the channel. It is Miss Afrokin here. In case you are seeing me for the very first time, I hope you do consider subscribing on the channel so that you don't lose anything that I'll be uploading soon.
So this woman wants to know how black people would feel if white people would hold an event that was solely for white people. And I gotta be honest, y'all already do. The only difference is that you guys don't advertise it to everybody. But there are definitely palm-colored only events. There may not be any signage or whatever. There may not be something that basically says bluntly that it is, but it definitely is a palm-colored only event. Also, anyone else find it funny why there's always this discourse of, oh, well, if a white person did this, yeah, can we not do this? But to answer this woman's question, we feel fine because it's clearly not the first time we've been excluded. We're very familiar with that, actually.
So I want to ask black people.
So fuck the question. Let's get into the sociology behind it and break down the behavior in this tactic because y'all, we've been talking about logical fallacies and this is a perfect example of a false equivalence. Now family, first and foremost, never answer a bad faith question because nothing good will come of that. And this is a bad faith question. I'm going to tell you why. Any question asked by a white person to a black person or to the black community in reference to race that has no historical context is automatically a bad faith question because you know that those situations are weighted differently. If you ask a black person, hey, how would you feel if white people did this? When you know white people have historically done that and white people hold a power that black people don't have, then you're asking in bad faith because you know the two things are not the same. The outcome is not the same. Now, we wouldn't want to go to their shit anyway, but let's not act as if this isn't something that's happened throughout history and still happens present day. Usually when they threw an event, if a black person was in attendance, they were hanging from a fucking tree. These days, we still have white-only events. They just don't say that because of the history, but you know that you're not supposed to be there because they let you know you're not supposed to be there. Second, they always tell on themselves with the way they say black. Did you hear that hard ass B for black people? When they say it like that, almost always 100%, I'm going to say 99.9% racist. The question's being asked in bad faith and they have some type of disdain or some type of indifference towards black people. You can hear it in the voice. Also, if you look at her eyes, she's trying so hard to remain calm, but this question is supposed to be one of those gotcha questions, but it's so fucking surface level that she can't trick anybody with it. But her intention is to put people on the same page and show, see, you guys are doing what we do, ignoring the fact that they have a whole history of excluding us from things and among other things. But come on now, we know better than this. So pay attention to the way people ask stuff. When they say things a certain way, when they look a certain way, when they're trying really hard to remain calm, it's because they know that they're asking something wrong. And I promise you, if that video isn't down yet, it's going to be because she knew it was a bad faith question when she asked, but she must not know black people because we will swoop in on something like that just to roast you. And if everybody ain't got her yet, they're going to. But just pay attention because these logical fallacies present themselves in everyday life every single day.
How would you feel if white people held an event every year on the coast, the South Coast?
What do you think all the private beaches are for? Do you think those communities have normal levels of white people and people of color alike? What about the country clubs with the pools, the ones that are in places where there maybe aren't always public pools? You know what? Why do we even have country clubs and private beaches anyway? The lower hanging fruit would have been what the daughters and sons of the Confederacy be doing all up and down all 50 states. Or the Klan, because still active. But I'm more curious as to why people who historically are excluded being included in their own space bothers you. I don't see you knocking down any doors, pulling up any chairs to tables, or flipping any tables to bring other people inside. So what is all this rigmarole? What's all this attitude? What's all this?
How you would feel if there was a white beach weekend.
Black people can't have nothing. Not a damn. Black people are minorities, okay? White people are the majority. They're the majority damn near everywhere that you go in the world, okay? If we do not have something set aside for us, automatically it's going to go towards white people because white people are the majority. If you were to go to a beach, let's say you're going to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Let's say you're going on a Saturday at 3 p.m. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be majority white people there. Unless you're going to Virginia Beach during beach weekend, which is typically for African American HBCU students or college students. Any other time that you're going to Virginia Beach oceanfront, you're going to see majority white people. But God forbid black people have one weekend or one day. It's up in arms. But it's also an entitlement thing. You don't have to be in every single space. Just like how black people are not able to be in every single space, you don't have to be in every single space, and that's okay, Karen. But looking at her eyes and seeing the way she talks, you could tell ain't nothing but thoughts and memories from January 6th in her cranium. Every other weekend that you go to the beach is white weekend. But God forbid one day black people have the beach rented out or they got permission from the city to have a black event. Oh my God. It's like the same concept as Black History Month, like how these colonizers be so pissed at the fact that black people have 1 month out the year, the shortest month at that, but 1 month. When I'm learning about Paul Revere and the British are coming, I'm learning about that every other day in school. God forbid I learn about Sojourner Truth, February 13th. God forbid.
I want to ask black people, how would you feel?
What does this hard B in black that I keep hearing? I'm going to get to your question, but I think we have to address the use of language a little bit. We use certain like subtle octave changes and maybe voice tone, deflect, little things. That one we should probably put an end to. It's very weird when I hear it. But after you said black 3 times in your video, you asked how would black people feel if white people had an event once a year and they called it White Beach Week and black people were excluded. That's like the black experience. The black experience is exclusion. If you want to get real specific with it, do you know what a sundown town is? Maybe you don't know. So a sundown town is a town that excludes, and I'm using that real lightly, people of color after the sun goes down. In a sense, you better not be caught after the sun goes down in these spaces. That's an extreme version of this, but there are several comments that are like hee hee ha ha in your comment section that are addressing it. Like one of them even was like the Hamptons. The Hamptons is the example of the black version of what you were talking about. The difference is those spaces that are predominantly white and not labeled that way are unsafe for black people. There is black events, and when white people enter them, they're not in danger. They're not invited, but they're not in danger. That was not an invite. That wasn't saying to go to them, but they're not exclusionary. They're intentional.